it's almost time for the 6th episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Whilst we may be over halfway through the first season, we've still got some fantastic stories to explore before we're starting to wonder what's next for Captain Pike and the team. What's this episode going to be about? Well, today we've got some brand new pictures, teaser trailers, and a clip to break down for you all. Let's go. Of course, spoiler warning, we'll be discussing the upcoming episode 6 of Strange New Worlds. As such, expect spoilers for the episode, so you have been warned. Turn away if you don't want to hear them. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack, and let's get straight into it. But before we actually do that, of course we've got to ask you as per usual, if you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from myself and the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe. But as always, please let us know what you think in the comment section below, because if you're talking about Star Trek, then of course we want to hear about it. Okay? Engage. So, the title of this episode is Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach. It's a very long and original series sounding name. We know from the trailers of the whole series that this episode is where we see the Sky City, the city on the clouds, with the planet's surface below looking very volcanic in a sense. This use of world building probably is used to reinforce this message and plot of the episode, for with a very peaceful looking civilization, but it is held aloft by clouds, though probably more technical means, which gives it its very fragile piece and puts the planet dangerously close to falling back to its chaotic, volatile surface where suffering can reach. You see what I mean? But before we talk too much about the episode and the title alone, how do we know this episode is the city of the city in the clouds? Well, that is thanks to the trailers for this episode, which we'll go into now. Now, the teaser trailer goes into the very broad strokes of this episode, but the small scenes we get a look at are fascinating. But as a reminder, if you want to watch the teaser trailer as well, then click the link in the video description to watch via trekcentral.net. Sadly, due to Paramount, we can't show you the trailers in this video without risking copyright strikes, but you can watch them on our website, where we can show them to you. We'll see an interesting looking shuttle, which I presume is the shuttle which the Allura and her family are on. And I believe they beam on from the accident aboard the shuttle, which we might see crash down to the planet we see the Enterprise orbiting. It seems the person who beams up knows Pike, and looks quite regal in a sense. This is in fact Allura, who a more specific Ready Room teaser will get into, and we'll talk more about her relationship with Captain Pike in more detail a little later on in this video. We do get this great look at the city in the clouds, with some very interesting looking sky vehicles around the place. The city does look very medieval in its construction, with brick towers and castle-like structures. It's very fairy tale-esque. Like I said previously, this probably helps to reinforce the idea of a very fragile piece, with these cities seemingly heading aloft on the clouds. But you do see some volcanic strands coming from the volcanic surface, which could be some sort of power generator on the surface to help levitate the city. The first servant is the only child everyone in Maglus is his family, so I feel like this child is the only thing that holds a piece of this palace. We get to see him being escorted by armed guards, but it's also striking the first child wears white compared to his guards who wear more dark military looks. It is also really interesting in the scene where this red smoke is blowing from the area, which in my mind gives more of a riot feel to the scene, rather than a celebratory one which we usually see, which I'm sure is maybe intentional? I don't know. The child says, I bet I could generate my own subspace frequency. This servant child tells this to Spock in the Enterprise sickbay. I'm sure this is just a kid being a kid and not indicative of any capabilities of his species, though who knows, this is Strange New Worlds after all. Spock even says that'd be an impressive feat, and getting to see Spock, specifically Even Peck, interacting with children is going to be fascinating. Now, the strands which we saw connected to the cities of Maglus seem to come from a cavernous place, but whether this is beneath the planet's surface and these strands are sent skyward, or this is underneath a very idyllic looking sky island is not known currently. Though we'll probably say this is underneath the planet's surface. This is very much giving the Cloud Miners vibe from the original series. Basically an upper class that lives in the clouds, while served by a working class that lives on the ground. You know, I just watched a Stargate SG-1 episode about the same thing. Let's see if they compare this week. The comparison in decoration and lighting is apparent with this. The massive industrial machines in the background funneling these strands of light to this very dark, cavernous, unmade look to the place, compared to the almost lack of technology visible in the sky and the more lighter stones creating the castles in the sky. The strands of light make its way to what looks to be a throne in the centre of the room. So perhaps it is something who doesn't want the first servant to rule and wants what they believe as workers are rightfully theirs. A place above where there is no suffering compared to the ground level where there likely is. The boy is in great danger as we see the group with Pike going down to the surface level and spears are drawn on Pike. Then the footage of a shuttle crashed on the surface of the planet. This doesn't look like the planet of Maglus, specifically not under the Sky Cities, which looked very, very volcanic. So I actually suspect it is the shuttle we saw the trio beam off of, which was on the beach of a rocky looking orbital body. Perhaps they beam off and the shuttle is sabotaged, causing it to crash to the planet below. It does look like an away team will be investigating the crash, perhaps while the Enterprise goes to return the boy and his parents to their planet. The away team will probably find out the shuttle was sabotaged and alert Captain Pike. Hopefully we get Sam Kirk on the away team rotation again, because we've seen so little of him recently. Seriously, give me more of Mustache Boy. That's what we're calling him now. There is no one I can trust, Allura says to Pike, just as he leans in for a cheeky kiss. We definitely have this formal relationship between these two characters, and what it looks like from the previous series trailers we've gone, Pike and Allura are ending up in bed together. Yep, it's one of those episodes, so strap in if you don't like those scenes. Now, a weird looking alien ship does fire at the Enterprise, though if I had to take a guess, the same people who built the shuttle probably built this ship. There's certain design similarities. So back at the underground facility, Pike is being held back by guards, and we see the mother and child standing next to what we originally thought was a throne, but now it looks more like an electric chair. I am going to assume that the kid, known as the first servant, has to sacrifice themselves on this chair for some reason, perhaps to keep the city afloat. Maybe this is a practice that goes back for a long time, but I'm sure Captain Pike won't allow it, talking about how a civilization can sacrifice its children just for the future. It's a bit scary. If the first servant doesn't ascend, we will be destroyed. So yeah, I'm sure his practice is called Ascension, where a child sacrifices their life in order to keep the civilization and its cities afloat over the surface. Ascension, underground workers, crash out, sounds like Stargate. We see a lot of guards fighting, though who or what they're fighting is currently unknown. We even see one of them disintegrate, perhaps phaser fire. One looks like they're even going to attack Captain Pike, with Pike raising his phaser. I have to say this upgraded phaser design looks amazing. We've gotten some good looks at previous episodes, but it's definitely designed that bridges the gap between the clunky Discovery design into the smooth 60s design we see in the original series. Okay, let's talk promotional pictures. Paramount has once again graced us with some promo pictures. Take a look on screen to see what we've got. First up we have Anson Mount's Pike. We see him in the captain's chair, which we expect obviously, but also a picture of him on a planet in these very well kept gardens. I must say they do look great. This has to be on the Sky City planet. We're looking at the scene where an armed guard seems to try and attack the captain. This is also a shot of Pike and Una, but it seems to be the scene in the Ready Room teaser. She'll talk about that at the end of this video, so stick around. The next pictures are the first servant, the child, played by Ian Ho, and the elder Gamal, who is the first servant's biological father, played by Huz Madij. These promotional pictures take place around the Enterprise sickbay, with the first servant sitting on one of the biobeds. We do get a close look at the species, with some interesting features on their foreheads in classic Star Trek alien design. There's also a great picture of both Nurse Chapel and Dr. Mbenga, who obviously are in sickbay, as where else would they be, and they're looking what might be wrong with the first servant. We should probably talk about the scans which we're doing on the first servant, and also the fact the kid has the name. From the other trailers, it looks like the child has been in more of a tool than an actual kid, and has to fulfill some sort of purpose to keep that society running. They don't even give him a name, just giving him a title. The scan also seems to suggest a quantum bioimplant scan, which could be looking for implants within the boy's body. This could be why he's born with this need to fulfill the Ascension, which is very TOS of having society which works by sacrificing its people, whether they're obviously looking at the Cloudminders, by having upheld laws or going to a taste of Armageddon, with the society sending its people to suicide booths to keep the society status quo. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Now finally in sickbay, we see Spock talking to the first servant's father, Elder Gamal. Maybe Spock says how illogical this system of trial is, and going back to the previous trailer, the boy does say he could make his own subspace frequency, which at first we thought might just be childlike bluff, but if he does have bio-implants in him, this could actually be true. The next promo picture we have is of Lindy Booth as Allura, who seems to be an old flame of Captain Pike. We've talked about Allura before and what she might mean, and we'll specifically talk about her from a Ready Room scene in just a moment. But from this promo picture, she definitely has a regal look to her, and some very interesting multicolour scale pattern on her clothes. Interestingly enough, Linda Booth and Rebecca Romijn have starred alongside each other in the TV series The Librarians, so I'm sure they had some good times behind the scenes coming back together on Strange New Worlds. Now talking of Rebecca Romijn, our final promotion picture for this week are the character of Una Chin Riley. Very much to say about these pictures, but it's of Una, which seems to be quite deep in thought. If the first servant child has been genetically modified, or has these implants in him, which are of bioorganic nature, this could be bringing up feelings in Una about her Lyrian nature, which we uncovered in episode 3 of the series. We also see a scan of the interesting looking vessel on one of the bridge consoles, which looks to be the vessel which fires on the Enterprise, which we see in the main teaser trailer. But that seems to be all we can spot from the promotional pictures. So let's now take a look at the full-on scene from the next episode, which was revealed during last week's Ready Room. The Ready Room teaser expands on one of the scenes in the general trailer for next week's episode, giving us a full scene look at what looks to be quite early on in the episode, probably the cold open maybe. In this teaser we see Allura, her son, and the son's biological father beaming aboard the Enterprise, being saved from the shuttle, perhaps before it does crash. This will probably be a shuttle accident, maybe even some sabotage going on, considering what we see in the general trailer from earlier on. This seems to have been the second time Pike has saved Allura from a shuttle, but this event seems to have happened and occurred many years ago. Allura remarks on how yellow Pike's uniform looks, with Pike getting quite flustered, even temporarily blanking on his first officer's name. Considering Allura has not seen Pike in his command gold uniform, this could suggest they met longer than a decade ago. Pike would have presumably worn colours of while first officer on the Enterprise under April, so depending on when Pike was first officer, we could either be looking at before 2245. I guess this gap in seeing each other is also shown in Pike, interested in whether this man with Allura's child is the father of the child. Since we haven't seen each other for almost a decade, maybe Pike thought he wouldn't have room to move anymore. The father does oddly say that he is a father, but only in the biological sense. Whether his relationship with Allura was simply of a procreational matter, or if his child does get sacrificed to keep the cities afloat, he sees only a connection to the child as biological, and not actually as father and son. The teaser doesn't give us a lot to work off of the overall episode, but it does seem like this episode will be Pike-centered. Yay! Considering I believe episode 1 was Pike-centric episode, this seems to be maybe getting more than a Chief Carl-centric episode we were wanting in season 1. Ooh. But when this teaser showed us just a little character dialogue, the ship combat, ground combat, and city in the sky and city in the ground, it makes me very excited for the upcoming episode. It's not just about action, but it's probably got that Star Trek message hidden in it somewhere. I'm excited. Now I am personally really keen to see the Enterprise in combat once again. Seriously, every time we see the ship fire phasers or torpedoes, it puts a smile on my face. However, will the upcoming episode give me this, or is it just a phaser shot in the trailer, or of a hard warning? We'll wait and see to actually find out. Star Trek Strange New Worlds 1X06 Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach airs on Thursday this week via Paramount Plus and the USA. Also additionally on Paramount Plus in Australia, Latin America and the Nordics. CTV Sci-Fi and Crave Streaming is your go-to in Canada, plus Voot Select in India, TVNZ in New Zealand, and Cosmo TV in Greece. Additionally, the streaming service of Paramount Plus will land in the UK and Ireland on June 22nd, 2022, but only the first 3 episodes of Strange New Worlds because Paramount can't schedule things. Who knew? Now as usual, we invite you to tell us what you're thinking of the upcoming episode of Strange New Worlds. Has it caught your attention? Let us know in the comment section below, as we're keen to know what you think. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. But as usual, I've been Captain Jack and we'll see you very soon. Live long and prosper my friends, goodbye.